Hey, it's TripleKO time. I am with, of course, Maximilian, Justin via Thailand, and bright BTS style hair. I like it.
It's the lighting in the room. That's what I would say.
Right, right. It's like, I can't tell Justin and Max apart now.
Yeah.
Anyway,
It's just the glasses size. That's it. That's all it is.
Exactly. So yeah, a bunch of fighting game news this week. One day we'll return to topics of our own creation, but like Justin usually says, the fighting games don't stop. The news doesn't stop. And we'll just start off. Hey, something we've literally said might happen for weeks.
I forgot I said
happened. So when did we or you say specifically Ken and Chun-Li? Did we change that to Jury at some point?
We did. So it was definitely like, Jury's a KOF character practically. She'd be better. But the initial discussion we were having was that like, it should be Ken and Chun instead of the usual Ryu and Chun's kind of boring. It's been done too much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Okay. That was it. And unfortunately, it's like, no, not unfortunately. Like, Jury still would have been a cool pick, but of course, Jury's foot would have been even better. But as far as we've always, or the last couple of months, we've said this, wouldn't it be cool if Street Fighter characters made their way into an SNK game? I had zero faith that they would actually do it. I just thought it would be fun to speculate.
Oh, bro, I knew this was going to happen ever since those Evo posters. I was like, this shit's happening. At some point, we're going to have to wait, and we did, but it's happening, bro.
It had to happen at one point, just because like we also assumed they were like, they're Team Street Fighter and King of Fighters. That's easy way. But then I guess King of Fighters 15, it's kind of like going out the door. So that's why I see the Wolves. We have this one, and it actually might be better because I feel like they will take care of these characters way more in City of the Wolves versus King of Fighters 15.
And there's a pretty huge like history to this if we think back to even us discussing it on TripleKO. Where like how far back has this gone? And the funniest thing is that for me, it even goes back further to the final season of Street Fighter V, where
really
Luke ended up being that character, right? A teaser for what was happening in Street Fighter 6. But there was a period of time there where SNK and Capcom seemed like they were kind of buddy, which was weird. And it was like, that's very different. And I started calling it like in 2021 or so. I'm like, man, maybe this means that like KO or something, they're gonna be teasing KOF 15 in the final season of Street Fighter 5 to get you to go buy KOF 15 or something, but that's not how that ended up happening. Instead, we waited an extremely long period of time where now Fatal Fury is the headliner game and Ken and Chun-Li are going to be in this one. So it's like, okay, that just goes to show how long these things actually take to happen.
Yeah.
To me, it seemed like when they were re-releasing the Neo Geo Pocket games.
Exactly.
When SNK just dropped those out of nowhere. And I don't remember if that was before or after the posters at Evo.
No, that was way before. That was like 2019. That was like pre-COVID, dude.
Wow, that's so long. Yeah.
Wow, it was
pre-COVID. The first one where it was like, oh my God, they're releasing like SVC Match of the Millennium or the non-card fighters one, like the fighting game one. And I was like, dude, this is huge. This means that Capcom and SNK had to shake hands, which has not happened in literally forever. So, that was the beginning.
Yeah. And in the modern day, when we, if you really, really want to trace it back to, I guess they are still cool with each other, was in fighting, Capcom Fighting All-Stars, where I think it was in the Polygon article, Oral History of Street Fighter or somewhere, where they're like, Kyo / K-Dash was going to be in there as a guest character. Yeah. And that was like the last like bridging of like the old school age versus like, a few years later, Street Fighter 4 is being made or at least announced. Yeah. And it's like, well, they're always kind of cool. It's just, I think now or in the last 5 years, SNK's even been in a stable position with like a bunch of strong releases that they're even able to do this stuff.
Yes.
What do you guys think about their reasoning of, this shit's probably going to get leaked, so let's announce it now with zero assets to show? Because I think that ultimately that's probably smart.
Yeah. Yeah, it hurts because it was like I was there for it live, and it was 4:00 in the morning, Japan time, so it was premium for them, but And then I'm like, dude, they're not going to announce anything here. Like, they're like, Ronaldo's going to be here. I'm like, no. This is not the day or date to do this shit. It's not. Like, you have to wait for like a PlayStation show or something. But right after I say that, they're like, oh, here is the Street Fighter crossover. And it's like, what the dumb shit? So I get their logic behind it. It's just, it could have been so much more. Like, if this was revealed at Evo or some shit, dude. Like, if this was something, that could have been a Geese equivalent announcement. Yeah. And that's kind of the thing about this year and the announcements, they've been amazing. Like, shit feels like it's fucking made for me. I don't get it. Like, I'm having an influence somewhere, and I can't believe it's eventually turning into influenza. But the way that it's actually going down is not top priority, in my opinion. I think some of the distribution methods of these trailers, although at Nintendo Directs and things that you would not be excited for or have reason to be excited for, they just show up. That allows them to be special, right? They are special moments, but for the same thing for this shit, it's like, man, imagine if this could have been here, right? Imagine if it could have been at this thing. It would have, like, I just want an audience of like 10,000 people to lose their fucking mind. Like, that's what I want.
Well, I think one thing is that SNK, they never have the best track record of releasing stuff in good timing.
It's true.
It's always kind of in their own time, what they think is the best time. So I think this is like one of those moments they prioritize TGS over like a PlayStation show.
Exactly.
Yeah, because that was what, like 2-3 days before between the two events, and like the PlayStation show is maybe not as much viewership as like a really big Nintendo Direct, but it's up there. It's certainly bigger than the stream that was watching the TGS SNK announcement. But I get what you mean, Max. At the same time, it's like they definitely want to have this stuff before the game launches just to get more people excited for the eventual launch. So EVO would be past that. But at the same time, doing it at a PlayStation or another Nintendo Direct, or even if SNK said we're going to have like a whole live stream, like sort of direct for City of the Wolves, like let's say in another few weeks or a month or whatever it's going to be at the top of the year, let's say, and it's going to be like 15 minutes. Let's tell you about the story mode and blah, blah, blah.
Hype it up, you know?
And one last thing, you know, like
and a special announcement, you know, good. Whatever, like
special,
exactly.
It needs to have some sort of buildup. There was no buildup to this like a Fatal Fury Direct. The only buildup we had was that Ronaldo was teased as a potential playable character. That's all we had to work on, dude. So we were thinking we were going to get that potentially, and I'm like, no, this is not the place to do that.
It cannot be a character. It has to be
like a skin?
A soccer stadium stage.
Yeah, maybe.
Did we even talk about Ronaldo?
No way he's a playable character.
Bro, I mean,
no,
why
we
not?
didn't. No.
He just says that something special is going to happen, but we don't know if it's a character or what type of collab.
It literally says
not
like
confirm anything.
Like he's like joining. It says like he's joining. It still could mean that he's like a skin over some other character.
Yeah, the
but
skin.
Like
it's
him
very
being
vague.
like, you know, a Roberto from rival schools or some shit is like the best.
Cool. That too.
The best.
I mean, I'm down
scenario.
I'm down for a soccer stadium.
Game. I think a soccer stadium where Ronaldo's in the background, like doing all these like soccer tricks, whatever that they do. Like, I'm like, that makes sense. Like Snoop Dogg in Tekken Tag 2.
Right.
Like type of thing.
But that's still like, it was always bullshit that Snoop Dogg wasn't a playable character in Tag 2, to be completely honest. It was kind of like, wait, he's just in a stage in a song. That kind of sucks.
It could be Crow from Def Jam.
But what I'm saying, what you're saying is right. It's like, oh, the stage would be cool if Ronaldo was in the background, but it would also be cool if there was an erupting soccer stadium, SNK style, and Ronaldo's actually a fighting character beating up Terry Bogard. Like, that needs to be a fucking thing.
So do you think, wouldn't there be issues if Ronaldo was a playable character, like, let's say 10 years down the road, depending on the contract? Like, let's say your contract runs out and now you can't use this character anymore, or, you know, kind of like how Def Jam is.
Yeah.
Where,
well, I mean, you can still use the character. It's just that, like, the distribution of that DLC would not be really available much anymore. Yeah. Like, we saw that with, like, Mortal Kombat games.
So then it has to be a skin. It can't be, like, a whole-ass character, because then, like, a character's just missing from the lineup, so it has to be some type of.
I think that's happened enough where it's figured out contractually that like this has to be like a lifetime contract. Like you can't, unless something really crazy happens, you have to. It's built into the licensing now that like we can't just like have half of our game gone, because the one character's gone.
Here's something
that's true.
Related to SNK style deals is that someone said like, hey, why don't you do a video where you play as Mai in Dead or Alive 5? And I was like, I should. And I go and I check. She's gone. Yeah. She was taken off that store like years ago. Yep. And I was like, oh, that sucks.
It's a problem for older games from like the mid-2010s.
Yeah. I went back to an old Xbox One. I was like, oh, there she is. I downloaded her on there. So that's nice. But I'd like to think for the Terry in Street Fighter 6 and vice versa, that those are also lifetime. The characters should always be there because they're so intrinsic to each other.
Yeah, they have to be.
Like, they're not going to take those away after a year or two or anything.
Yeah, I think this has happened enough in the fighting game space over the past 10 years, where it's like, oh, these licensing things, or not even 10, like 20 years gone in Tekken 3 and Soul Calibur 3 problems with like guest characters and Soul Calibur 4 like this goes on for a long time. It needs to be resolved contractually, right? Wherever the passing of the licensing and the rights is. I would assume that unless it's just super shoddy, that this is managed in a way that allows the game to still exist in a digital medium,
What are we betting on costumes for Ken and Chun-Li in City of the Wolves? Because this is interesting. Unlike Street Fighter 6, like City of the Wolves has no confirmed everyone gets a second costume, right? They're still kind of hemming and hawing about that. Right now it's only Terry that has a second costume. Right. So what did they pick? I assume that they're going to pick just their Street Fighter 6 looks and not their classic looks, but who knows?
They are.
I'm guessing it's 6 as well too.
They are. They showed us Street Fighter 6 artwork representation.
Renders.
Yeah, we're getting, Hoboken, and we're getting mature Chun-Li, the older versions of the characters. But I mean, classic Ken outfit's right there, and the classic Chun outfit is right there. I would prefer the alpha versions of the characters for sure, but
good choice.
I just remembered. So I remember we talked about how the timeline for City of the Wolves is like not too long after Garo 1.
Correct.
So wouldn't having Hoboken and mature Chun-Li feel weird at that point?
I think they can. We have no perspective of when Gaoro technically takes place in relation to Street Fighter. We assume it's around Third Strike, right? So even if that's the case, then this is still. Well, I think this is actually supposed to be in the 90s.
No. Somewhere in a character's story biography, somewhere on the City of the Wolves website, it says it takes place in like the mid 2000s.
Oh, weird. Okay.
Something like that.
So Rock is like in his mid 20s now or some shit.
Yeah.
Rock fucks everything up. The amount of games that Rock has been in, it just screws everything up.
Because of his age relation. Like in Gaoro, I think he's like an older teen or some shit. And then Terry's like in his mid 30s, something like that. I don't. But that's the problem is that like this perspective always screws everything up. It's fine. Like the Street Fighter 6 characters, the modern Fatal Fury, whatever, dude.
Yeah, I'm just thinking about like the Mai and Chun-Li intro, and Mai's super young and Chun-Li's like a little bit on the older side. That's what I was thinking about.
I don't know. I think Mai's design is a bit more mature. And I don't know. I think what they got going on for her now, I think everything is embiggened because it's modern SNK with graphics, but I'm just saying that like I feel like Mai's design has actually grown up a little bit than her older ones.
Yeah, it feels like it's like, hey, I'm doing this thing now, like being a biker or whatever. I'd really like her to come out on a bike, one of her intros or anything.
Sure. Yeah.
So yeah, we'll talk about this definitely more when there's like more shown. But I'm really excited to see what they look like visually in Garo's like engine or Fatal Fury's rather engine like color palette and stuff.
I think the devs did say don't expect them to play exactly like Street Fighter 6.
Good.
Yeah. They're probably going to be like an amalgamation of those characters and what they had before, but dude,
yeah, and I say good. I say good not because I dislike Street Fighter 6. It's just like if this is going to happen, it's like make it like a best of character where they have a little thing from most games.
And just speaking from like a take a step back and look at the situation. So Street Fighter 6 and Fatal Fury are collaborating, but me and Justin were there for the first playable moments of this game being playable back in February at like an early preview event. And we were like, so the Street Fighter 6 influence is pretty massive in this game because it has green bar practically. It has drive rush sort of mechanics. It has a drive impact. We from the first moments you playing this, like, oh, this acts a lot like Street Fighter 6, where it's like, I take guard damage, it makes this stuff go higher. I use EX moves, you know, with a bit of nuance and differences. So to me, it kind of always made sense. They're like, dude, they're hovering around a legal part here, which is like, this is really close to Street Fighter 6, dude. But now that makes sense because they aren't competing against each other. They're sharing the same ecosystem. In fact, like, I feel like it's a good thing they chose Ken because he's like the most played character in Street Fighter 6, like period, in Street Fighter in general. But if you take Ken from 6 into this game, you're not going to feel completely alien with the way Galro kind of works, or the way, Fatal Fury kind of works. It's going to feel a little similar, but things just work in different ways. So I don't know. It's like, to me, that the crossover of these two franchises, these two games, has been there since like the very first times we touched it. And it's like, yeah, we felt it, you know?
Yeah, good point. I do hope Chun-Li is a bit simplified from how she plays in Street Fighter 6.
Not a stance character.
Yeah, the stance stuff I'm still like can't really wrap my head around, but just having her in City of the Wolves and not having that stuff, having been an amalgamation Chun-Li, like I'd love. And again, good call on just alpha costumes. I don't know why, I just really think that's cool, or at least, well, no, Third Strike is just still them looking
It's their basic
classic,
outfits. Yeah, it's pretty much classic Ken, classic Chun.
Yeah.
Like if you pre-order the game now, when Chun-Li and Ken get added, they'll have these costumes thrown in as well. Would be
imagine
what you got.
Use your brain and your eyes in front of your brain and imagine what Ken's pants are going to look like.
His
pants. You know Kim's pants? Like, it's practically a character.
How they're wavy?
Yes. Imagine Ken's Third Strike pants could potentially come back, because Ken has really good pants in Street Fighter 6 in his classic outfit. Ken's pants are going to be crazy in City of the Wolves.
Max crazy for Ken's
pants.
So we should move on into something else that is crazy. Heihachi finally being added into Tekken 8. I have not had the chance to play with him at all. I think Justin has.
I have. I played him as well too.
So what's going on with Heihachi in that?
So anytime Heihachi comes back from the dead, he becomes very, very cheap. So they had to really bring him back in a very powerful way. Obviously, from the story, I don't want to like spoil if you haven't played the story.
I haven't seen it yet. Yeah.
It was quick. Yeah, the story, the free story update, you could definitely beat it within like maybe an hour and 10 minutes. So it's pretty short. But it really explains a lot about Heihachi and his like character and how he fights now. And it's very strong. Like literally, he has, what's the best way to say it? He has V-Trigger. So he can earn this specific thing called Warrior Instinct. And how does it work is you have to pop heat 3 times in a match. So it comes to fruition, if you think about it, the 3rd round minimum. Yeah. Right. And when you activate your heat, you just get 1 stock, and then you have to do it 3 times. Once you get that, there's an emblem right below his health bar. It just light up, and you activate it by pressing 2 and 3 at the same time. And he does an Akuma stance, like bam, right? Akuma powers up and everything, and all his moves become extremely very devastating and electric. Where like properties change, frame data changes, combos.
Yeah, he enters double heat. Yeah.
Yeah. And he stays like that for the rest of the round. Not the rest of the game, just the round.
Okay.
Yeah. Still, yeah, it's pretty cheap.
That's
does he have
likelihood of you taking that round is pretty high.
Yeah, exactly. If he pops that, it's like you lost.
Outside of like heat stuff, does he was his move set like greatly changed, or is it still like the?
No,
like
it's the same.
Play Heihachi, it's
if you played him in 7, if you played him in 6 or 5, the moves are still the same. It's just kind of like different properties of it. Like we're like, oh, if this was launch punishable, this was this didn't do this like specific stun. So it's like little nuances like that. But if you have played Heihachi before, you know how to pick him up and you know how to do at least like 10 of his moves right off the bat.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. I did see that bit where it's like Heihachi has no idea who Reina is. And then I think Namco said Heihachi has many illegitimate children.
Yeah.
And he doesn't know many.
He doesn't.
It's fucking
But
crazy.
I would say Heihachi, you know how like people always say like Mishimas are very hard characters to use because doing electrics, it's like a specific just frame timing and everything.
Sure.
So now, besides that, he also has just frame strings. So he has a down forward 1-1, right? And you can either do it, it's negative on block. If you hold it the whole way, it's like plus on block, but you can interrupt in the middle of it. But if you do the just frame one, it's like a literally you can't like he just throws you all the way back. So it's like a big giant push block. So any of his charge moves, there's a just frame version of a charge move. So back two is also a just frame move. So any move that he has as a hold, you can just frame it, which is pretty cool. It's like really interesting because he never had that in previous Tekken. So they gave him the just frame stuff plus the warrior instinct, which you're gonna see a lot because in every Tekken round you have to activate heat. Like that's just part of the meta. You don't
if you're not activating heat per round is bad.
Yeah.
You have
if you're
to
not
always
activating
be
heat
in
at
heat.
all, if you're not always in heat at least once a round for 10 seconds, you're not playing Tekken 8 right.
Right. Did you like him overall of what you played though? Like, were you into it?
Yeah,
like, these changes?
he was really fun because I think why I liked him was Bandai Namco is trying to change this perception of like Mishimas are hard, right? Because when people are like, yeah, you got to learn how to do the electrics, like the perfect just frames for the hell sweeps. But now they added more moves to these characters where if you can't do it, it's okay. You can still do this and that. So I think they did a really great job with Heihachi because I never cared about playing Heihachi at all. Like from 4, because he just looks whack in the diapers. 5, he came out
cool in the diaper.
Yeah, 5, he came out super late. And then I'm like, why would I play him in 7 when you have the wife? I'd rather play Kasumi over Heihachi just because of that. So when he came along at 8, and I'm like, oh, Heihachi, whatever. But then you saw the trailer, and then you play him. I'm like, damn, wait, he hits really, really hard. Like his impact, like he has paw impact when he hits you. So I really like that of a character.
I also like a bit in his conversations, like when he fights Kuma, he's like, Kuma, you're the only one that was ever loyal to me. Like, he just loves Kuma so much. Like, I knew while I was gone, you'd be the only person worthy of the Mishima blood.
Incoherent bear noises.
I think Kuma says, I knew you were alive. I knew you were going to come back. So that's great stuff. So leading into that, there was a lot of people kind of confused. Some angry that along with the update that added Heihachi into it, that his stage was added as well, but it was a paid stage, much to the chagrin of people that, got the whole season pass. I think Harada, addressed this in a really long, wordy and, transparent post, but if it's a stage that has to do with a returning character that's coming back,
you just assume
like that. You just assume. If it was some random fucking stage like
Waffle House
from Tekken 5, Waffle House absolutely should be paid. Like you should pay for that.
It should cost more than a stage normally does.
It should be $2,500 the waffle, and people will pay that.
Yeah.
But for this, I kind of, I personally wasn't like, oh, that sucks. Every single game out, Street Fighter 6, MK1, Tekken 8, and others, all of them have some sort of weird thing with DLC where it's like, that's not it. Like, I don't know about that. Mortal Kombat with the seasonal fatalities that were super expensive. Street Fighter 6 with the, costumes that were like, $1,000 each or whatever it was. The Ninja Turtle ones. And like Tekken, aside from the DLC roadmap being pretty slow compared to other games, like it seemed like it took forever for Lydia to come out. And also for Heihachi, it's like, it's not that bad. But like, yeah, just throwing a stage that's associated with the character that's coming back and it being, I don't know if Harada's statement had a conclusive, this is what we're going to do. I think he was just like, I'm going to talk to Namco.
No,
for the future.
His statement was that he really didn't know because a lot of that stuff, distribution, publishing stuff is being handled by different departments at Bandai Namco. So his thing is that like, they are obviously not in touch with the community in ways that him and the other like people are. This wouldn't be a call from like Mike Murray or anything like that. These are big games made by big studios with a lot of different people. So they wouldn't have done that, you know, is what it seems like. And now it's like, okay, so we're going to kind of pull back. I don't know if the result is the stage is free. I have no clue. But it seemed like I need to have a talk with some people is what he was saying.
I think at the end of the day, it's like, this will stand. But if they do this again, I think there would be
that would make sense.
You know, as long as it's a feature that doesn't seem like it's part of the characters. Again, Waffle House or KFC. If the Colonel showed up in Tekken, then yeah, pay for that. Like Harada tried at some point.
Yeah, because when Lydia came out, the beach stage was free. Yeah, her stage was free. So
that's crazy. Yeah, I forgot about that.
There's definitely some confusion there.
But, yeah. But yeah, Harada continues to be like an amazing source of info. Like if you're into fighting games at all, not even if you're into Tekken, but if you want to know how they work, how marketing
works,
the
history of their creation, you know?
Yeah.
How the big fighting games that came out of Japan even came to be the way they are. A lot of them either involve Harada in some way, or he has direct knowledge of the other's existence and how they did their shit and how what Tekken was doing, how Namco was doing, how they did theirs differently too, you know? Like dude, the amount of information that Harada has dropped over the past year about the history of fighting games is phenomenal.
Mm-hmm. I'd say even more so, it's like, it's nice that the story thing, Justin was saying it's an hour long. That makes more sense for that to not be free. And that be like, you know, $4, whatever you want to price it, and then the stage be free at least.
Exactly.
You know, that seems almost the reverse of what you'd do.
But that's the problem is that like, you know, if something's inconsistent, it'll stand out. And even if like the majority of the content that's coming out for Tekken, you know, a lot of it is free, and things that are like story expansions are literally where you can make all the money, dude. Like I don't think people would have been upset if like the stage was free and the story cost something. I don't know if people have been upset by that, but even when one doesn't, this one just doesn't line up because it doesn't make sense. It's like the stage should be free. What the hell's going on?
Yeah.
But it's like, unlike Street Fighter 6 or something, Tekken stages have gameplay attached to them.
Yeah, exactly.
Like with the walls and everything. So it's even a bit more.
They're not just visual.
You know, that maybe, and they're not visual exactly. So, well, excited to see if they actually take this to heart and that the next stage or content, like there's not going to be something like this again. But, you know, things pass through the cracks like this, unfortunately.
Well, one good thing is the stage is really cool.
It is.
The stage is really cool.
Does it have big transitions or is it just a general one area stage?
It's not transition, but there's a night and day.
Oh, okay. So there's different visual elements.
Yeah, different visuals.
So in terms of falling into the cracks, something I have not also started because going into October, I'm super busy recording a bunch of stuff, and I think Justin didn't have time for this. Max has What is Chaos Reigns expansion, story mode, characters. I have not had a second. There's too much shit going on.
Where would you like me to start? The good news or the bad news?
Damn.
Bad news is always the best news.
Bad news is always good. So the bad news is that the story mode kind of sucks. It's pretty middle of the road. Not super captivating. Feels like it was either split from some other thing that they were going to do into some other thing. And then
because Aftermath was great. Aftermath story mode, like ending was awesome.
That's the comparison we have. MK11 and Aftermath, the expansion to the story. You would think that this would like expand the story and really put the characters on a path of something interesting. It doesn't. It's like an episode. It's just like an episode in the middle of a big TV arc, right? It's just one of those. It feels like a filler. It feels like Havoc is effectively a filler episode bad guy. And we introduce new characters. Like we introduce Noob Saibot Cyrax sector, but does anything really get to a point where it's like substantial? No. I mean, all I can just tell you right now is that Sector and Cyrax are like part of the Lin Kuei, and their allegiances and where their allegiances lie change by the end of it, you know? And their ideologies change. So that's it.
Without spoiling anything, does it seem like they might be looking to get a third story expansion? Because you said
1,000%.
1,000%.
1,000.
They're gonna say 1,000,000.
The way this ends is so abrupt, where it's like, wait, that's it? Okay, so is there a teaser? There's no teaser? Whoa, that cannot be the end, dude. It just sort of ends. So yeah,
maybe Aftermath did so well that they're like, let's have 2 Aftermaths.
Yeah.
Aftermath.
Here's the biggest criticism I have, other than the story. What this being doesn't really feel substantial. Like, it doesn't feel like an Aftermath substantial or even a main story substantial. Is that none of it feels really important. Like, things are happening to characters and we're fighting people. But as an example, in big MK stories, who are you fighting? Well, some pretty historical MK character, and they either go down or they don't, you know, and you move forward. In this, I swear the majority of the fights are against Chaos weirdos. And
Chaos
jobbers, but not to the degree of Chaos jobbers that are at the end of MK1 story mode, which is like mix matches, like, you know, Sector and Smoke put together, or Johnny and Sonya like mixed together, and some like those crazy. That actually felt chaotic, right? That was truly chaotic, like amalgamation characters through different universes. That felt cool.
It did.
The problem here is that you fight just weird reality versions of like Raiden or Kung Lao, and they just have funky skins. So they all just have like weird, crazy skins that look like they came out of the seasonal content of MK historically, where it's just like, oh, MK1 got some crazy skins. It looks like that. It looks like, and here's the funniest part about it to me, is that this is all about chaos. So chaotic chaos, like all this stuff. And everybody you fight against is color coordinated. Like everyone, every character is like, oh, this is the chaos shitheads. And they're all like color coordinated because they're from the same universe.
I've always thought this, even going back to Mortal Kombat Deception, where you go to the Chaos realm. I'm like, there's streets.
Yeah,
there's like order here. Like, it's really hard concept to do. Like when you say like this is the Chaos realm, it's like you can't even, the human mind shouldn't even be able to imagine, because the human mind wants to make order out of chaos. So it's really hard to nail. To
match your thought process, I thought the way they handled the Chaos realm when they go there was pretty cool. And it's like, yeah, this is chaotic and crazy.
Rocks.
Yeah, a lot. Like it doesn't make any sense. There's barely streets or anything. There's like dedications to Havoc everywhere, and like Havoc neon signs, and I'm like, this is kind of cool. I like this. But the problem is, every single time you fight something, it's just the most it's just the same characters we had in the whole cast, shadow versions of characters that all story modes eventually have to do, because you can't, you know, do this. But it's effectively things we have already done, like in MK1 originally, like the original story mode. But now they're less important just because they're like, we're Chaos guys getting in your way, you know, and they all have like the same costumes. They all have like chaotic costumes. So they're just crazy. They have arms sticking out of their chests and shit, and it's weird. And I'm like, but they all kind of have that. So
yeah.
Anyway, and the story takes a big chunk of it goes down in one location, and I'm like, Christ, bro, we've been here for a long time. Like, we've been stuck in this place for a very long time. So it's stuff like that. I had fun with it. I enjoyed it, but it was definitely like a 6, you know?
Okay. It wasn't, how long was that expansion?
Shorter, like 2 to 3 hours.
Okay.
That's not too bad.
I think if you don't have any gameplay, it's probably like an hour and a half.
Yeah. For Sector and Cyrax animalities, how are you feeling about all of that? I think I've seen most of the animalities, but there's still couple characters missing that I don't think I've seen. They're great.
They're arguably some of the best rendered animals I've ever seen in a game. Period. That aren't like fictional creatures like Capcom Monster Hunter things. Like, no. The way they've rendered tigers and gorillas and birds and cats and all this shit, it looks really goddamn good. So like, massive props to the NRS like team on this, the art team. They killed it, dude. Animalities are so sick. And here's what's cool about most of them. They all have like a beat to them that isn't horribly gory, where it's obviously gory, but it's like tongue in cheek or spooky, like they're meant to scare you, or it's meant to be like, elicit a different reaction than pure grimace of gore, which is what I like. That brings you back to old school MK. I don't have to watch a dude's ass cheek get pulled out through his mouth. Like, there is some gross stuff in there, but it's done with like, oh, cute animal just ripped a guy in half. Oh, that guy's dead as fuck. Like, the tone is a bit different.
Good, because a lot of the ones I had seen were like pretty gory, but there's at least like a few where the ending beat is kind of like, oh, that's cute,
exactly,
or whatever it may be. Still, then I like to think that in DLC in the future they'll just throw a random digitized picture of a penguin that like would lay an egg, or a monkey, like how some silly shit like that maybe down the line. I'm not sure, but the only thing left that they haven't done again, I think, are harakiris. I think that's the only finisher that hasn't come back in the modern day.
Babalities, technically. But that's still,
they're in
if we consider
MK9.
MK9 modern, Babalities, technically. But yeah, Harakiris,
I think that's it. Other than that, it's like maybe think up a new animality for not animality, new finisher type. There's still no pits.
Ain't no stage fatals.
No stage fatals.
I think that would be next.
Stage fatals were a big MKX thing, big MK11 thing. We didn't have the time in this game.
Except for the seasonal ones. I think the seasonal ones are technically stage fatals, but not really. Were they?
Oh, you talking about the season fatalities?
Christmas and Halloween.
No, they're just,
but they're just fatalities.
They just work on every
right?
stage. They're just fatalities.
They work on every stage. Okay. I do want to try the story mode because I enjoyed the base one in MK1 enough, but it sucks because like MK11 base and Aftermath together was like a really strong story mode when you combine them both. So to hear like the ending to this is kind of a middle chapter feeling.
Yeah, so
but
here's where the it turns into good news, but is also bad news. Don't think Chaos Reigns sways the overall opinion of Mortal Kombat 1. The overall, right. and the problem with the overall opinion is that the casual opinion of the game is that it's not liked, right? That like either didn't like the story mode or where it's going or the resetting of characters or the changing of characters or whatever. I don't think this does anything to sway that opinion, unfortunately. Mm-hmm. And that's actually where it really needed to hit, which is with the casual audience. Guess where it does sway? And it is moving in a direction that is genuinely cool, is in gameplay. Ever since like Takeda with like Sector and Smoke, and especially Noob Saibot, holy shit, man, there's so much fun. There's so much fun.
You've been saying since Takeda, you're saying like Takeda doesn't seem all that great, but you're having fun
but
with
I'm having so much fun with him. Exactly. So like Noob Saibot's kind of the same way, but he's way better. Noob Saibot is the best version of Noob Saibot I have ever played in any Mortal Kombat game. Is he going to win the most? I don't think so. But good Lord, dude, this guy has so much stuff he can do. You should, a complaint that we kept having with MK1, characters didn't get strings. You got a ton of special moves, but very few strings. So it's like, oh man, it's been since like MKX, we actually get a lot of strings on characters. So that's alleviated now. Like Noob has a shit ton of strings, dude. And he has string modifiers and all this. He's so much fun. Like, and I'm seeing him played a variety of different ways throughout a variety of different assists because he has enough gameplay inherent that allows that to happen, where it's not just going to boil down to one assist. And that's great. It's actually sick to see that Cyrax is actually like fucked up good. Like she's close to like MK9 right? Cyrax right now. She's very good.
It's like long. I was looking at clips. I'm like, man, these like setups and combos, they're like 40 seconds long.
They're long
because she just resets you into the bomb and everything like that. It looks really cool. I saw Sonic Fox doing this Havoc like sequence.
Havoc's and I'm crazy now.
Yeah, Havoc looks so crazy now. And then I think he said like, oh, there's a thing that powers him up, but it reverses his controls.
Yes.
So your controls are all weird and everything.
When
and
he snaps his neck, yeah.
Yeah, I felt like that was pretty cool, like the way they added that.
That that stuff across the board is great, dude. Like this game is turning into something substantially better. And this is kind of what the entire argument from the very beginning was that, oh, there is more stuff here and it is very fun, but damn, they really put the brakes. MK1 launch was like a game that obviously hammered the brakes on what you could do. So it sort of got focused into like, okay, Lao Hat's always going to be good, or Cyrax Assist is going to be good on everything. Like, and it seemed like they wanted you to have fun, but it was mostly like an illusion of like having fun. And then you play the game for like a month and you're like, okay, yeah, I think I'm good.
Yeah.
I think this is what
That's
it
how
is.
I
And
felt.
it kind of boils down to like, oh, it's the same shit over and over again because characters just didn't get enough cool stuff they could do. So that's opening up a lot, dude. Just like, I'm disappointed they didn't add more cameos, but they did open up a lot of what each cameo can do, new things that they can do and stuff like that. So it's great. The game's getting to a point where I am kind of confident that, and there's still an issue with me personally with MK1 that it just doesn't feel good to play. It's like the worst feeling NRS game to play, like in my opinion, like ever. So I still think calling assist feels bad. I still think like, calling assist while doing things does not feel intuitive in any way at all. You have to really acclimate to it. However, when you acclimate to it, I think this is going to be one of the better Mortal Kombat games by the end of it. I really do. So, and we're just on that road right now. The season 2 characters and how they are playing, bro, dude, Sector, it doesn't seem like she's going to be as good as Cyrax, but good Lord, just look at the effects work on Sector. It's amazing. And you see her bouncing around and doing the shit, jets everywhere, missiles. I'm like, this is so fucking cool, dude. So anyway, I am probably the happiest I have been with MK1 since the initial launch when it seemed like the game was going to be a lot of fun, but that early impression kind of went away. Right now I'm getting that impression again, but there's a lot more game here. We know how MK1 works as a game to see where it's going to be interesting. And I'm seeing a lot of people playing shit differently right now. And it's kind of cool. So it makes me really pissed because I want to play more of it, but like Terry's out and shit, and the Tekken thing came out.
Exactly.
So I'm just like fucking mad. I'm mad that the MK1's the most fun it's ever been. I can't even play Takeda, dude.
But because it's almost like the character, like Cyrax and Sector and Noob, all cool, but it's like even the ones that are coming, like Conan and
seem pretty cool.
Guest characters, they seem pretty cool. Not as cool as Terry. Like it's such a bad timing.
There you go.
Really
and then my bigger problem is that I have a choice tonight. What am I going to stream? Well, I'm going to fucking try to get Terry to master because I've barely been able to play him. And fucking Jesus, dude. The issue with my issue with Mortal Kombat is that this shit dropped the same day as Terry. I hate it, dude.
Same day.
It's so dumb. Like, I don't understand how. And then a week later, Tekken happened. So I'm obviously not playing any of those tonight. It's like, dude, if you play multiple fighting games, it's out to get you. They're literally Scream guy with a knife chasing you. You can't get away from it.
And you know what's even crazier? Outside of just core gameplay of the characters that are being added, each game has a bunch of substantial story added to it.
Yes.
Like MK1, Tekken 8, and even the World Tour mode in Street Fighter 6 has like a huge Terry-only component. Like it celebrates Terry. So each one has like, hey, if you're into single player, if you're into multiplayer, all three of these things within a week of each other have this stuff. So I don't know. Whenever someone says, why didn't they space this out? These companies don't talk to each other.
They really should.
Because they really should, but they don't.
They're fighting against each other.
Cannibalizing.
They're competitors.
They're competitors.
So anyway, it bums me out. It really does that I have to like choose between this shit. But I think the other positive aspect of this is that Heihachi seems like he's really fun. The story mode's really good. Terry had really interesting, crazy, a ton of like references and gimmicks throughout his story stuff. Terry's also arguably one of the most fun characters in Street Fighter 6, period.
Most fun, yeah.
And guess what? MK1 gameplay has gotten to a point where, yeah, maybe the story wasn't as good for you, but if you were waiting for the characters and the gameplay to open up, dude, this is the time. Noob Saibot is fucking sick. So you need to check this out. Like, it is really enjoyable to play now. Does
Noob have another costume? Does he have another costume available that you can get or comes with one?
Noob?
That's not the default with the little hat?
Yes, he does. The first thing you level up on him, level 1, is his MK9 mask.
Nice.
Okay, good.
So immediate, and they also has his MK11 mask. They did all of it, dude. Like, and you can change his stupid green shit. You can turn his green shit into blue shit or red shit or purple shit. It's
really?
a
I didn't know
customization.
that. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay.
It's like, oh shit, dude.
Yeah, that makes sense. The way the gear works and that. Yeah.
Also, Sector and Cyrax in their battle pass thing, you can unlock the classic masks. It's just in there.
Nice. Yeah.
So it's like, cool. This is wonderful. Fuck.
Yeah. Now you got to grind for that stuff.
Yeah. I mean, now it just requires me to play the shit out of the game, which is hard to do. Like, I fucking can't split my time between everything.
And I think they added, or someone was able to find that Melina's Mortal Kombat Deception look, which is one of her.
It's in the game.
Yeah, it's in the game. It's in there, and people are big fans of that costume. I think they've been screaming at poor Ed for months now to add that in there. So there's that. But there's more fighting game stuff. If you're into the indie scene, by the time this episode of TKO comes out, you'll have 1 day left. The day this comes out. October 8th to register for the Rage of the Dragons closed beta. Fantastic that this small release is having a closed beta. Hopefully that bodes well for the online connectivity of it. But on Steam, if you search this out, you can find the page that they're hosting to get into the closed beta, because the closed beta then happens later in the month. I think October 10th to the 17th, about a week. I believe Justin has. Max, you've played Rage of the Dragons once or twice, or no?
I love this game. No, this game is so fun. It's like it's very, very fun.
One of the most underrated tag fighters, right?
So
I would
good.
say so.
Yeah, it follows with, like, it has, Billy and Jimmy from Double Dragon and Bobo. It's pretty much from the Double Dragon universe, right, I would say. But it's a tag fighter. You can tag in and out. Like, it's kind of like King of Fighters 11 type of style, where you tag characters in and out within combos. There's wall combos as well too. It's a really fun game. I think you actually would have a blast. And they also have special supers, because you have like, it's 2v2. So if you're Billy,
teams.
Yeah, there's canon teams, and the canon teams have a double team super, where if you pick a different order, they do like a default super, but if you pick their canon partner, they have a special, like, double team super. It looks so cool.
Interesting.
Yeah.
I don't even think I've seen. I probably have seen it. It's just that I'm not associating the name with it right now.
It's just that this was supposed to be a Double Dragon game. At the last second, they couldn't get the actual official license.
Oh, okay.
So they're Billy and Jimmy Lewis. And it's a boo boo and stuff. They had to change certain names, but it's still ostensibly them. Yeah, I'm super. This is going to be a Rage of the Dragons Neo. So I think it's from the same group that it's complicated, but I think it's from the same group that did the Rumblefish, but it might not be. They're associated with them.
No, it's the same people that made Breaker's Revenge.
Breakers. Yes.
Yeah. Because the Breaker's
collection.
Revenge had a closed beta as well too. So yeah, they're from Brazil. So I'm excited.
So they
did a great job with Breakers. So I'm excited for Rage of Dragons.
Okay. Thank you for looking that up, Justin, because I was like, it's either them or another one.
I was like, it can't be the Rumblefish guys, because they messed up hard. That's what I was thinking in my head.
Unfortunately, yeah. So yeah, if you want to participate in the closed beta, that ends today. So I'm gonna try to get into that, because Rage of the Dragon super underrated. It just because it never got a port ever, so a lot of people weren't able to play it when it was a thing. I want to give big ups to Coreupt. This is a futuristic indie fighter that's on Steam, has a demo right now. It's very Unreal looking and like Unreal Engine looking, where you have like these really cool, like futuristic looking, like very Cyrax Sector, all the characters. It has a demo with online play, local versus 4 characters, and absolutely has some sauce. I played it last night a little bit, just trying things out, and I was like, yeah, it doesn't feel like 100% fluid, but it's like really close. And each character has different mechanics. You can do a lot of combos. There's a good amount of expression in there. Coreupt, I don't think it's coming out this year, but I think it's coming out next year. So this
been around for a long time.
Yeah, they've been working on it for a while.
Yeah, I at first I thought it was like one of those games where it's not real because they never talked about release date or playable builds. Kind of like Blazing Strike for the longest time, right? So that's what I thought. But then they finally released a demo, so I haven't tried it yet, but I'm super excited to try it. Also, I found out recently, like a day ago, that if you guys know ArcForge, he's the one that made Sonic Smackdown, the fan-made game. He's working on Coreupt.
Oh wow!
So they hired him to work on Coreupt. So now I'm like, okay, I have complete confidence where the sauce is coming from because Sonic Smackdown had so much sauce, right? So really excited to try it out even more.
So yeah, that's available on Steam right now. So I'm sure I think at least Justin has gotten hands-on Hunter, not Hunter x Hunter. This is
Hunter. X is silent.
And then don't put the X.
The X is silent.
Then Impact got delayed to 2025. Boo. Oh, it's because we want to actually put rollback, which I didn't think or know that they didn't have planned to begin with.
That's crazy to me that they were trying to release a fighting game in 2024 without rollback. That's like suicidal. You understand?
Sparking zero.
I mean, is that a fighting game? That's a casual action game with a versus component.
It's further like cementing the fact that Aiding, the developer, has not created a rollback solution for their games yet. You're like, oh, but Aiding did DNF Duel. Well, yeah, but that was not all made by Aiding. That was also Arc System Works.
There was like
clearly built on the foundation of Arc System Works rollback netcode and their lobbies and everything. So no, they do not have like the know-how. So that's why I'm a little like, like, so who's doing the rollback? Like, I'm a little worried about that because the 3v3 game is kind of intense, and even Arc System Works had a tough time doing it with Dragon Ball FighterZ. Took a very long time. So I'm hoping it works out.
Even if it was going to have rollback netcode like from day one, you know what a really bad time to release a new smaller scale fighting game is? Now! Anytime in 2024. So maybe 2025 is the best call to delay it for any reason. Because all three of us can't even play all the fighting games that we want.
I'm just scared it might have the DNF duel effect where it just fades away. They released it to release it and there it is, right? And then they also added new stuff, right? And me personally, and I think a lot of other people said the same thing. Please revert back to the previous gameplay because they added active tag, and I'm like, no, don't add active tag. I like
is the first 3v3 fighting game with active tag.
Yeah,
and a lot of I feel like there's some confusion here. People are like 2XKO has active tag. Power Rangers Battle for the Grid had active tag. I'm like, no, technically no. Those are assist tags. You have to call your assist first and then turn it into a tag, right? You don't have full control over the character until you bring them out and then assess control. Active tag is MVCI. Like, truly active tag is Marvel Infinite. And to a degree, they did it a little bit in Dragon Ball FighterZ because the tag is like, right?
Yeah,
you can active tag for no cost in Dragon Ball FighterZ after like season 3. So that actually made that game way better. You can actually optimize combos in a way that, I'm just going to use you to bring you down to the ground, bring my buddy in to finish it because they do a ton of fucking damage. It was neat. So there's very few fighting games that are actually like 3v3 with active tag. And we don't see entirely how it works, but it looks pretty Dragon Ball FighterZ-y, Marvel Infinity. So
yeah, but there's a super tag is going to be a thing in the way how supers are, because they're very long.
Oh yeah.
Super tag is a very thing that MVCI does, and even from what looks like Hunter x Hunter will do. I personally don't want that in there, also a lot of people have said the same thing. So maybe they'll look at the comments and say, "Hey, maybe we need to do something here." I don't know.
If this game got announced active tag at the very start, fine, whatever. But the fact that they changed like midway is like,
I don't think it changed mid. I think this was the way development is. There's no way you just added that over the past 2 months. There's no way. It was always
They didn't have it before.
It was always in development, but the things that are available to be shown yet are sometimes not.
I guess.
So the scope of a project has to be figured out at the start. You just don't add a whole brand new mechanic out of nowhere. It was likely in there the whole time. It's just that you could not show it or demo it because it wasn't ready. Like it just wasn't at a spot where it was working yet.
Yeah.
Could it not be selectable? Could you not have that option, like active or non-active, like either in online or somewhere in the game?
I mean,
or is that even like possible? You have to go all in.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you have to go all in because the history of games like segmenting gameplay elements and asking you to play the game one way or another does not historically work out.
Yeah.
Mortal Kombat 9 weeps.
I was just thinking, I was like, Max is going to mention Mortal Kombat
MK9 weeps.
The greatest mode ever.
But yeah,
or like 4-player Street Fighter EX3.
I do think that it is a little concerning that, well, you would think the entire game would be revolving around that because the thing about active tag that irks people is obviously, tag super. Like super tag is the most annoying thing. You just have to hold all of this mix during this. It's hella cheap. And I agree. I think like the answers that MVCI had for super tag weren't particularly great. And it's cool that you can do that, but like, there needs to be a trade-off, there really needs to be it needs to be balanced in a way that isn't the goal to get to super tag. The goal is actually to hit the opponent. It's just to hold all of this fucking mix and get cheesed out. Because it is cheesy. It is the most degenerate shit in the world.
It is very degenerate.
It's the most degenerate. And to be real, like we tried to tackle that without changing the whole game in MVCI Beyond. And the solution that we came up with, much less the gameplay crew came up with, I thought was pretty smart, which is in our game, all we did was, well, what if you super tag, then the character that got tagged out, they stay on screen way longer. Meaning that if you were unsuccessful in opening the person up, that character is now super vulnerable. So we increase the time that character stays on screen by like 3 seconds. It's a long time.
That's good. Yeah, that's a very long time.
So if you're Dante's doing the gun thing and then you tag in another character, Dante will sit back there and just chill and do a pose and then he pieces out. So his chance of getting happy boo-booed is much higher. It makes people and I've seen it already. It's actively decreased the super tags. People go for Oki instead of just going for super tag all the time.
Yeah.
So it's like, I hope they're ready for that, right? We had a lot of experience, like 6 years of experience of people playing Marvel Infinite, and Super Tag was the goal, for most of it. So let's hope that they've been looking at the space of how Super Tag is utilized, and it is cheap. It is kind of shitty. There needs to be solutions for that shit.
Like, has aiding worked on any game? Maybe like an arena fighter that I missed that like even has like tag functionality. Like usually,
not really. Outside of Marvel, not really, dude.
Yeah,
like I think Bloody Roars had a team option, but it was like KOF style.
That's ancient history now.
Yeah, bring back Bloody Roar. Anyway, it's always I'm like, do you know, guys? Like anytime I'm not like doing regular work, I'm just talking to Gal Winquote saying, make a Bloody Roar video now so we can get a new game announced.
Bro, dude, he would need to travel to Asia to cover the Southeast Asia Bloody Roar scene, because I was watching a Bloody Roar tournament yesterday.
You saw some crazy shit.
They were playing Bloody
I'm
Roar
like,
2.
what's happening? I'm like, what's all these cancels and strings and his life disappearing? I'm like, wait, this is kind of sick.
You're watching, it's Bloody Roar 2, right?
Yeah, Bloody Roar 2.
Yeah, BR2 is like the big one.
That was insane.
Yeah. The other ones could be just as big. It's just that like people just go back to Bloody Roar 2 a lot. It's like almost the third strike of it, even though I'm a Primal Fury man myself. Anyway, moving on. Queen Dizzy finally revealed in Strive. Very, very different design, but Dizzy is Dizzy. I don't even play Dizzy. Dizzy's the fucking coolest. Like
she is cool.
She is cool, but she is designed to be the most historically annoying character to fight against. Like she puts a bunch of bullshit and it shoots you in front and behind you and stuff. It's like, I feel like it's funny this season of Guilty Gear, they're putting Dizzy in like Venom. And I'm like, okay, so how are they going to fix him? Because like the Happy Khaos already caused a lot of controversy, like across the board in terms of his gameplay style being very polarizing. And Venom and Dizzy have not identical, but kind of similar, like this fucking character, this shit hit me in the back of the head and all this stuff.
Yeah, I think they did a great job with like they could fix them because Testament, they fixed Testament like a lot. Like they nerfed like classic Testament to the ground where invisible trees and webs
all that shit is
all
gone.
The annoying stuff is gone. You know, so it's they just have to rebrand and recreate the character.
Yeah, and that's what I mean. It's that like, does it go in a direction that feels good, or it's just like, oh man, this is not the same. Like Elfelt is the perfect example of that. This is not the same character. Yeah. You know,
not the same. Yeah.
Turned into a rushdown Rekka chick. It's like, okay.
It's crazy that Strive is like how Strive has been out when did Strive come out?
It came out 2021.
3 years. Damn.
3.5 years.
Like this must be the longest running like single entry Guilty Gear. Like I think Zard was like less.
X-Zard was maybe a little bit less. I think it stopped in like 2016 ish. So it had like 3 years. It came out in 2013. But there's also like arcade versions and all that shit. True.
I just like it feels like it's been around forever now to me, and like, you know, they're still getting people hyped, especially with what's her face from Cyberpunk still in
their first guest character
and everything. Yeah. So yeah, not much to say for Dizzy other than that because it wasn't a full gameplay reveal. It's just what
she looks great.
She looks like. Yeah. Terrence, Terrell, Bogardian. Max kind of already like said it, like, is he the best character in the game? Is he a Cammy or a Ken? Yeah, maybe not. Is he the most fun character in the game? Do you just get a cozy, wholesome feeling controlling Terry in a Street Fighter game? Yes, you absolutely do. I only had a few online matches. I obviously put my time somewhere else. I'll talk about in a second, but now that he's fully out, how are you guys both feeling about him?
You go ahead, Justin.
Go ahead, Justin.
All right. So I played him. I had fun. I love his combos are really cool. It's very like he's a character that can combo anything he wants, which is great.
Yeah,
that already sounds like he's about to be a really good character. After playing him, I'm like, man, he's very vanilla in a sense. In terms of just like not having a lot of competitive sauce.
He doesn't play Street Fighter 6 super well.
Yeah, he doesn't play Street Fighter 6. Like if he had, you know what it is? He just doesn't have a button to like really throw out there. You know, like he got T-Rex normals, his standing heavy punch, it's like the classic 2-hit one, but they could have gave him a straight fierce. You know, they could have gave him a straight heavy punch and that would have changed a lot just off of that one button. But just fishing for standing heavy kick, the little kickball kick.
It doesn't have an easy throw loop.
Doesn't have an easy throw loop. Like competitively, he's probably the weakest DLC character out of the 5. For
really?
Sure.
Over Aki?
Yeah, Aki. I mean, everyone else has really strong flowchart where you could just like kill the character even without them waking up with DP. Terry doesn't have anything where he can just like abuse like every other character does.
And this is, and Justin's absolutely right. Like I'm actually doing the worst with Terry of any character I've played in the game so far. But here's the difference. I'm having the most fun. I don't care, dude. Just landing shit feels so good. Like getting to this one combo I practiced in the corner that is like this one situation is so much fun. My prediction is that like, and we're already seeing it start to happen right now. This is from like a week ago before I left. This isn't a character that we're going to see optimized in the first week or 2 weeks or 3 weeks. It's going to take like a month. And the last character I was saying this about was like Rashid, where it's like, there's a lot here. Like there's a ton. Is it super easy to do? Not really. But if you give people like experts a time to sit with this shit and just figure it out, dude, he's not just going to be a worse Ken, which is kind of what he's doing right now. He's going to turn into two-touch Timmy, where if you're really good with your meter and optimization and where your hits landing and shit, dude, yeah, he kills you in 2 touches. So that's very powerful. Not every character gets that ability in this game. And Terry can fucking do it. But the brain power, the mental acuity, the experience you need to get to that point to identify that optimization is going to take like a month. So we're going to see it though. Like you're going to get hit from Terry and you're going to fucking die if you get hit by like the right attack. And he does have some pretty good opportunities to get to damage, but not like nearly as good as the other ones. The issue with it, everybody else is just going to throw loop your ass and it's 10 times easier. Everyone else is going to shimmy the shit out of you. It's going to be way easier. Terry's walk speed isn't particularly great either. So it's like, everybody else is going to play Street Fighter 6 really well, but Timmy going to two-touch you. So that's where his strength is going to really end up lying.
Terrence two-touch.
The Terrence two-touch. No, I call it the Timmy two-touch.
Yeah,
that's fine.
It's also really funny seeing all these clips on Twitter of people just like exposing how bad Terry's supers are. Like there was one time where his level 3 hits like at the tip, and he only got one hit out of it, and then he got punished for doing that. I'm just like, damn, that's tragic. And the level 2 doesn't go anywhere, right? So it's really hard to stop projectiles with Terry. If you're fighting against another projectile character, it's like actually tough.
Because like as cool as Rising Fang is, it's like it's hard to balance that sort of thing where like just one touch is just one hit if they're jumping, but it's like a rising tackle based super move level 3, so it's like
Terry's like
more than that, please.
The best example of a character where if you just change some of his frame data in the most minor way, like a 1 frame here or 2 frame there, he would end up being super fucking good. And it feels like that already happened by the time he came out, because his close range buttons, the frame data for them is not particularly great. Like he has spacing traps, but none of his frame data up close is good. And you have to really set up for good plus frames, which is what's good in Street Fighter 6, especially with specials, like spacing of specials and that kind of stuff, round wave, heavy round wave. But it already feels like, oh, he probably had some good buttons, but man, look at this fucking frame data, dude. Everything's like -1, like everything.
He definitely had the Luke crouch medium punch during QA testing.
Oh yeah, 100%.
That crouch medium punch was definitely plus in testing, and they're like, you know what? This is a little bit too good. Yeah. And I'm like, that's actually what I was looking for. I was like, oh yeah, if he has a close range normal, that's plus frames that he could just like abuse and go shimmy and throw with. Yeah, he literally will be another Ken, like pretty much variant at that point.
Ken, he's not, and it feels like the devs came to that conclusion where he was really good at one point. He was probably the best at one point, and then went, okay, let's give him all, keep all the specials, because his specials are fucking great, dude. All of his specials are mostly safe for a lot of them, but they toned down his frame data, his normal frame data.
I could see Capcom throwing in a sneaky balance patch at some point, like they've done in season 1, where it's like, just throw out this random thing to tweak him slightly. Because I feel the same.
I mean, this Terry patch was a mini balance update for some characters.
It was,
JP and Dalsum, they're back, is what people are saying. So we might see more of them in the future. They're back.
Will you guys allow me to gush about Terry and World Tour very briefly?
Because I didn't play it.
When you start this up, it says, "Do you want to pray to the altar of Terry Bogard?"
What?
Meaning
that's what it opens up with?
It literally says, "Do you want this special event, the Knockout Festival, KOF? Do you want to enter this now? If you do this, you lock yourself out of every other like event and every other country
and
you
it prioritizes it.
This is it prioritizes Terry only."
That's cool.
I think you have an option to opt out of it when you go back to like your little apartment. But I was just like, no, give me all of it. I want it all over my face. So you just go on this Terry quest and you're basically locked out of doing anything else, but it's all in service of it. And unlike every character that you meet in World Tour mode, they always have one little mission where it's like, it's not expressly about them. It's like, go back to this one town and talk to this one NPC. That's it. The fact that Blue Mary and Joe Higashi, the characters, appear and say, Terry's so cool. What do you think about him?
Oh, wow.
Hey, and Joe goes, do you want to learn Hurricane Upper? Just the actual move? And it gets added only in this mode. And then Mary goes, do you want to learn like Spiral Arrow? And it has a follow-up, which I wasn't expecting. When Max said at the end of the Marvel vs. Capcom collection, has that one song, what was it? Remembrance of a Promise? What was it?
Yeah. It was alluring, the fact that Marvel's not dead.
You know what's
the reunion.
Super not
it's
done?
Like reunion or something.
You know what's super
CBS.
not done? Capcom versus SNK 3. Because at the end, Terry has a cutscene with a character and they just like, hey, why don't we have a fight again one day? We will absolutely do that.
Is that okay?
Oh,
is it
wow.
with Ken or Chun?
It's with neither.
Oh shit! So it's definitely fucking happening, bro.
It is such a cool moment, and my character, my stupid avatar, I wish he was like dead because I'm there in the background going, hoo, no, get out of here. I just want this character and Terry together. So that ending of the mission, what's really cool is that the only thing you really need to do is at least you need to meet Ryu in the World Tour mode and just start learning under him. You don't need to max him out. You just need to meet Ryu. And then Terry's option for just his like inclusive story mode just opens up. So you can do it. I finished it in about 2.5 hours. I really, really enjoyed it because the amount of rock appears.
Yeah. Yeah,
Terry talks about rock
in Street Fighter 6. Like this
in a very limited capacity, but he appears.
This is where we are. We have effectively revisited Smash Ultimate right now.
It really is. If they do the same thing for where it's or any other guest character in the future, where it's like, it's just like limited event that like restricts you. Like it's such a celebration of that character. Like it does remind me of Smash doing the most it can, but even more so because there's a whole story around it. This is way more because I just thought, just like any other character in World Tour mode, Terry just get dropped somewhere on one of the maps, Metro City, whatever, and that's kind of it. It would just be the same. But they really went above and beyond. And you just learn his moveset, obviously, and he teaches you each move, tells you where the move came from. Oh, Jeff taught me this. Oh, and I put my own spin on it. It doesn't work that well, but I still love it. And he just does it. And I still never saw Kim shooting himself across the stage via farting. That's in the game, but I never saw it myself. In Pow Pow Cafe, Kim Capwan shoots himself across the air by propelling himself somehow. It looks like dust or some sort of air is shooting out of his butt. I don't know. It's a Fatal Fury special reference. The amount of references are insane. And
no, it's a lot.
Also,
it's beautiful. Yeah.
The English voice actor, Michael Schneider, did a very, very good job. I was like, let me put it back to Japanese. And I was like, you know what? I'm not. I think he does such a great job as Terry, much better than Maximum Impact Terry. So yeah, like it was, I did not know really what to expect, like going into this. I'm like, yeah, it's going to be, the what every other character, but the fact that Capcom went on references, I wasn't even like, I don't even know what this is. Like arm wrestler dude from Fatal Fury 1 showing up saying, I'm the arm wrestler dude that you do in the bonus minigame of Fatal Fury 1. The least played Fatal Fury.
Yeah, the least played one.
Is just crazy to me. So I really enjoyed it. If they do the same, if they even collaborate with other companies, let's just say it's just doing SNK. If Mai gets something similar or another character gets something similar, like I was blown away by the job that they did. And the fact that they just lock in on Terry and every single character you meet is like, how cool is Terry Bogard?
This pisses me off so much. This pisses me off so much,
it's
dude.
The worst.
I'm so fucking mad.
It sounds like a fun old time.
All this
like
stuff
a really
is
big
so
fun
good,
time.
and it all dropped within a week.
Yeah.
I'm so fucking mad.
You know what also dropped this week, Max, Justin? Capcom announced a new Darkstalkers
T-shirt
themed battle pass.
There it is.
There you go.
6,
there it is.
Where everything you could want, but a new Darkstalkers has been announced. A John Talbane costume, Night Warriors being added into the arcade of Street Fighter 6.
So
Hub World, just everything.
A Halloween themed Street Fighter battle pass theme is pretty fucking cool. Just to give it credit of what it is. And it's like actual skins, like they're different colors for characters, right? Like Chun-Li has like a Morrigan color, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That's amazing. Like that's way better than like it's a sticker.
Yeah, this is actual skins for the characters. I thought it was skins for the avatar.
So skins, it's a
like skin for the avatar,
like a character in the game gets a Balletta color, right? So you actually look like BB Hood.
Oh, I see.
Like okay, what is it?
Chun-Li's hair is green.
Chun-Li's hair is green, and her costume is like purple and stuff, like Morrigan.
Yeah, so it's not like when Street Fighter 5. Yeah, not like Street Fighter 5 Morrigan skin.
We're not there. We're not at Street Fighter 5 levels of skinnery yet.
Okay. The avatar skin bits for John Talbane look better than the costumes that they would get for Street Fighter 5. Because it looked like those characters were cosplaying as Darkstalkers characters, but I find the John Talbane bits that you can attach to your avatar, I'm like, that's a pretty good facsimile of the character. So, I appreciate that. Because it's like a headpiece, a chest piece, legs, like it's the whole thing.
Yeah.
And you get music. You get music from Morgan stage, Felicia stage, and Raptor stage. Like it's a lot. But honestly, I will give Capcom credit for this is the most Darkstalkers we've ever had, where all versions of Darkstalkers available in the Capcom Fighting Collection, everything. This is just, we're so close. We're just edging to even get a new Darkstalkers, but we're just not quite there.
I think stuff like this is where Darkstalkers just lives on.
It has to.
I think also we have two prospects on the very far horizon from now where Darkstalkers live on. But do they live on in an immediate place of their own franchise and title again? Well, unfortunately, no, dude. Like every single time those games have been given a chance to like show up and come back, it's not been done in a way that is like, proven to be worth it. But clearly the characters in the franchise themselves are good. But it's, can they stand their own ground in their own game? No, right now it feels like, dude, CVS in the future, bro, that game needs Darkstalkers characters, 100%. Game needs Darkstalkers characters. Marvel vs. Capcom, if that comes back in some way, game needs Darkstalkers characters. Will they have it? I almost emphatically think they will. I don't think there's any reason why to think they wouldn't. So that's where, to me, like, and I don't even feel the same way about just Darkstalkers. A lot of Capcom franchises are like that for me. Rival Schools is like that for me. Power Stone is like that for me. Most of these characters are awesome, but can they stand their own on their own game? I don't know, dude. Not now. It's tough.
Would Capcom release a Darkstalkers game, but it's like KI 2013, where it's just the lowest spec you could possibly go, but still high spec, like AA?
That would be like
I don't know if Capcom would be in the interest of doing anything that's not AAA.
I don't know. Yeah. Like the last time we saw Capcom do that was really Mega Man 11 and technically Path of the Goddess / Ghosts and Goblins. Like I wish they would. And I made a video about this a long fucking time ago, but like, can we get like a Capcom AA fighting game? Because that's sort of what Project Justice was back then. That's sort of what, some of these middle of the road Star Gladiator and stuff. It was like, oh, we don't have to invest everything into this, but let's get a game with a meager budget, with a meager size, with a meager price point, and see how good it does. I wish it just doesn't. We have never seen it in the fighting game space outside of something like literally Killer Instinct from big publishers. It's like big publishers only want to go ham, and that's it.
Yeah.
Because if you go any lower than KI, then you're just indie at that point.
Yes, you're just indie. The reason I said big publishers is that even indie fighting games have cost more than that to make. Like, for example, Skullgirls 100% is way more expensive than Killer Instinct was probably in its totality. Way more expensive. But Killer Instinct was a published game, big IP from a big company, right? They just chose to release it in a meager fashion.
And we got our KI reference in for this episode.
I know. I was like, Matt, of course you wanted to say something about KI.
Although I will say
it naturally came up.
There is definitely space for like, hey, Skullgirls devs, you want to make Darkstalkers? I wish. I fucking wish. That'd be amazing.
Guile Winquote, make a video about this right now.
Then here's the thing. I think we live in a modern day Capcom where that could potentially happen. Like, I don't know, dude. But at the same point, it feels like Capcom still wants to go big and bold, where it's like, yeah, we're getting CVS 3 and Marvel 4 in the future. Like, we're actually there now.
Yeah, I mean, because
one-
they're just on a hot streak right now. So at this point, they want to focus on things that they know is going to work versus, hey, let's try stuff out.
And a lot of people will be like,
But-
yeah, but the Marvel collection doesn't have that many people playing anymore. But it's like, but no, dude, it had the most people playing older fighting games in one collected space than ever before. Than recorded fucking history. More people were playing old Marvel games at the same time. Like, it was a lot.
And they already got all your money.
risk.
They got everybody's money
run-
already, so it's already too late.
Yeah, exactly. They got all our money. Then you run the risk of 2012 when Capcom was releasing 3 different fighting games a year, either a new one, an update, a collection, and it was too much. It literally was where it's like 2010 to 2012, 2013.
That was a weird burnout year.
2 or 3. That was very
because that was also the burnout year of another 2 games that successfully dumped and kind of put the fighting game space on a different publisher side in the water, and that was Bandai Namco. That was the year Soul Calibur 5 and Tekken Tag 2 came out, and both underperformed.
And Cross Tekken.
And Cross Tekken, yeah, exactly.
Around
everything underperformed.
But we love fighting games so much. Just do it again. I'm sure it'll work better this time. Just every day.
It might actually do better now. I think you're right about that.
It might. I think it's more stable now. You know,
we're in the fighting game
the
renaissance.
buttresses.
We're just bigger, dude.
Try every game out. Why not?
So yeah, I guess that'll be it for now. A new Darkstalkers is for sure coming, is what Maximilian is saying. So that's good. We can look forward to that, right?
Please send your emails to Matt McMuscles if it doesn't happen.
Just got one quote. Make another video about Darkstalkers. It'll happen.
We're waiting for the fighting layer reveal soon.
Yeah, exactly.